Hello, everybody. This is Gary Benoit, Editor-in-Chief of the New American Magazine, and we're really excited at the New American today because we just launched our new live daily 1-hour TV program, and this is in collaboration with Brannon Howse and his WVW TV network. Let's take a look.
WVW Broadcast Network and the New American are pleased to present the New American TV with your host, Rebecca Terrell. This broadcast is committed to helping you understand the truth behind the news. And now, here's your host, Rebecca Terrell.
Welcome to the New American TV, where we bring you the truth behind the news. This is our inaugural broadcast, and we want to begin by sending a huge thank you to Brannon Howse and WVW TV for offering us this wonderful opportunity to get our message out to you.
Welcome to Beyond the Cover with your host, Gary Benoit. And today we have with us Rebecca Terrell, who not only is a senior editor for the New American Magazine, but Rebecca, as of today, you are also the host for the New American TV with Rebecca Terrell. What do you think about that, Rebecca?
Well, it just came up very suddenly. It came up very suddenly, and yet it was years in the making. So I really see the hand of God kind of in this, because we are using this as a vehicle to get our message out to a much broader audience, a much wider audience, much more quickly than we can the way we normally do. Not criticizing us at all, because our information that we have is quality information, and the audience that we're trying to reach is a high quality, well-educated audience too. So, but this is it's a wonderful collaboration. Probably a lot of our viewers are familiar with the name Brannon Howse and with his Worldview Weekend TV program, which is not just on the weekend, incidentally. I think he started on the weekends, and once he got rolling and went into the weekdays, he just kept the name because, of course, that's your branding. You kind of have to stick with what's popular and what people identify with. But Brannon Howse, he also runs Mike Lindell's TV network, which is also online. It's Frank Speech TV. He's about to launch another network called Swiss America, which is dedicated to economic news, and that's very exciting. He's invited us to be part of that too, because a lot of what we talk about in our literature and our videos pertains to economics. It's all tied in together. But the way this came up, I actually went out to Brannon's studio not too long ago. He didn't realize I was reporting a lot about the problem that the Midwest farmers are having with these carbon capture pipelines. And I'd reported so much on it, he thought that I lived in Iowa. He was trying to reach out and get me on his show. And when he got my number, he realized, hey, we have the same area code. So he called me. I'd never spoken with him before. He's the nicest man. Just, the minute he starts talking with you, you feel like he wants to make you think y'all have been friends forever. He's just a great, great person. But he reached out. He said, "Hey, Rebecca, this is Brannon Howse." I said, "Well, nice to talk to you." He goes, "Do you live in Memphis?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm right down the street from you." So I went out to his studio, and we had a great show. And he said, "I've been wanting to do a regular show with the New American for years. What would you think about it?" And, it evolved from there, because obviously I brought it to you and we all talked about it. We said this is a great opportunity. And granted, you said, what do I think about this personally? Yeah, I'm much more comfortable being the writer, staying in my little hole and doing my research, and not so much in front of the camera. But that's the thing about this opportunity that I feel like God has given us. God also requires a little sacrifice, right? So
exactly, and I know it's hard for you to be in front of the camera, because I know that's outside your comfort zone.
That's right.
But at the same time, the viewer would never, ever realize it. I was so impressed watching that first program today. And of course, Rebecca, you said this was years in the making. And obviously what you mean by that is this is something we've wanted to do for years. But really, this opportunity that we move forward with is something that just developed within the last couple of weeks. And it's just so exciting to take our information and our action program, because we do have things that are unique, and to be able to collaborate with somebody who has the understanding of media, somebody with the professionalism of Brannon Howse, who can help us present this through media, through TV, online, in a way where I just think it's perfect. This merger of such a nice presentation with all the John Birch Society and the New American Magazine, which is a subsidiary of the John Birch Society, have to offer.
We have the same goal to rescue our constitutional republic from those who want to destroy it, right? And
exactly.
Right. That's our point in getting all of this information out. So the format that we have for our show, which is an hour long, and I'll tell you, I started years and years ago. It seems like another lifetime. I was actually in broadcast journalism. And, if we were going to launch a new show like this, especially something that's an hour long, it would be several months in preparation. We have put this together in just a couple of weeks, like you said.
Right.
But the thing is, it's not, that makes it sound like, oh, you just threw something together. And granted, yeah, we have our training wheels on. I think if anybody watches a replay of the show, you'll be able to see, oh, there's a little rough around the edges.
Let's take a moment right now, Rebecca, and we'll show a clip.
Decades ago, JBS founder Robert Welch predicted that the government was going to try to restrict people's access to automobiles, which is what we're seeing that come to fruition right now. But we don't need to take speculation. We know that the insiders, the planners of all of this, state this in plain black and white terms. They intend to take away personal property. They intend to enslave us. They intend to control population, not just control population, but decrease population. And of course, I always used to think, well, who are they going to get to do the dirty work for them if they end all of our lives? It's not like the earth is some type of paradise. You've got to have somebody to plant the crops, as Nancy Pelosi pointed out. But now we see all of this transhumanism and AI coming into play, and you start to see this dystopia forming.
Yeah, I mean, there's the two things you said kind of dovetail together beautifully. Frederick Soddy, back in 1920 in Wealth, Virtual Wealth, and Debt, he explicitly says that the United States could provide all of its own needs, and so it's therefore independent of, kind of the globalists. And he said we have to work on making it need, imports. We have to cut down on its own internal manufacturing capacity. So he is actually embraced. His book was embraced by the technocrats, by the technocracy movement as their Bible. So, I mean, those concepts of kind of, taking away our resources and enslaving us to this, making us dependent on this global technocratic model is very well documented. But I was just curious, do you have any more news, Rebecca? I was enjoying your reading.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. And you know that there is more news. We can't possibly cover it all, can we?
That clip, Rebecca, that we just showed obviously shows Daniel Natal with you. And Daniel was providing an analysis of something that happened in the news. So is that a regular feature of the program?
It actually is. That's what our tagline with the program is: the truth behind the news. And that's what we want to do. You can pretty much go anywhere to get the headlines, online or TV. But what we want to do is run through some headlines, and then, our audience is a thinking, educated group of Americans who know that there's this underlying agenda afoot. And so Daniel is there. Daniel's an excellent commentator on this continuing theme. So you're not just watching the nightly propaganda that you get on your boob tube, so to speak. You get this running commentary so I read the news, and then he and I discuss it. And we go back and forth like that for the first segment. Then for the second segment, we do a deep dive into one of those news items, and we'll always have a guest either from inside our organization or outside our organization to do a deep dive into one of those issues. The third part, the bottom half of the hour, is also divided into two sections. And the first one is going to be inside politics, where we're talking about legislation that's coming up that's very important. We're talking about congressional scorecards, exposing the rhinos, exposing the bad guys, and extolling the good guys, because this isn't just bad news. We want to say, hey, look at these good things that are happening, and let's copy those on a national scale in across the country and in each state and each precinct. And then our last section of the program, again, what you have always said, we don't want to just be the most educated prisoners in the prison camp, right? We want to take action. And so that last segment of the program is empowering people, showing people, look, you might be just a little guy. That's okay. God does great things. Yep. With the little guy.
Little guys can accomplish extraordinary things. And of course, they do so through the grace of God. But Rebecca, what you're hitting on now, that fourth part of the program, which is entitled Taking Action, that is one of the unique features of this program that was just launched. Because, as you said, it's one thing to know, but it's another thing to do something about what you know. And our whole purpose is not just to inform, but to provide people with the means so they can use that education to save the country and also our culture, to save our Christian-style civilization.
Absolutely, and we have to preserve our Constitution. More and more people are waking up. We hear these calls, even in conservative circles, for a constitutional convention. Mm-hmm. We need to remember that the last time that happened was in the 1700s, when they were just going to tweak the Articles of Confederation, and they didn't do that. They threw that document out and started with a blank slate. And we got the Constitution out of it because we had a moral body of men writing it. If we had a constitutional convention now, you could not say the same thing.
No, you cannot. But there's something else, too. First of all, I do agree completely the importance of morality, because if you have people, a citizenry who are immoral, freedom is not going to work. So the people had to be moral. But the people also had to be informed. And one of the things that happened prior to the writing of the Constitution, in fact, it happened prior to our Revolutionary War, was the fact that you did have patriots who were forming others. You had the committees of correspondence, for example, and they were waking the town and telling the people and getting them involved. And in order for freedom to emerge, that information, that understanding is absolutely necessary. I do recall that Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence, once said that ignorant and free can never be. That was true then. It's true today.
It's true today, and one of the most important things that I think we've just lost it, the knowledge is lost in history or in the pages of the Constitution, is the principle of nullification. The Founding Fathers designed our government not to be top-heavy. We are empowered at the local level to any of these unconstitutional measures that federal bureaucrats or even state bureaucrats try to foist on us. Your local law enforcement, your local elected representatives have the power under the Constitution to protect you from that. It's important for us to understand that as individuals, and then to get to know our elected representatives or even become one of them, and enforce that principle of nullification. That concept is a very empowering concept, and when you tell people about it, they kind of have this light go off, in their heads, and they think, "Hey, wait, that's what it means to be free." Right. Where you call the shots. The federal government, the state government doesn't tell you what to do. You tell them what to do.
And of course, in our first episode for this new TV program, you interviewed Bill Hahn, who is the CEO of the John Birch Society, and he talked about nullification, and of course, he talked about the importance of the John Birch Society as well, the importance of using the information to save our freedom. But I know in the days and weeks and months ahead, Rebecca, you're going to be talking to a lot of people in that fourth segment. You'll be talking to members of the John Birch Society, across the country. You'll be talking to coordinators, and you'll be talking to people in various walks of life, such as farmers and others, and what they're doing to save our freedoms.
Right, exactly. And it'll be fun, too. I think that we're probably going to have a blooper reel before too long. We definitely have a few takes from today's episode. For instance, I called Bill Hahn the president of the John Birch Society when he's actually the CEO. But you know what? That's the joy of live broadcasting.
Yep, and that's okay. But nonetheless, I think you did a fantastic job. I think out of the starting gate, we have a professional program. But as time goes by, obviously, it's going to get better.
Absolutely.
Right. And of course, we have a fantastic team, but you are the face for the New American Magazine TV, and you really are a tremendous asset. as being the face of the program, and who knows, you might not be able to do as much writing as you were in the past, and you are a wonderful writer. But boy, we're sure glad to have you as the face of this new program, Rebecca.
Well, I appreciate that, but it is definitely a group effort. I might be the face, but there are a whole lot of other parts of the body that are working behind the scenes to get this on. And I'm just thrilled to be part of the team. And of course, we're writing a script. It's different kind of writing because it's broadcast. It's a very different animal. But we're going to get it off the ground and get it going. And the important thing is getting the information into people's hands so they can take action and save our country.
Exactly, and we'll move forward doing that every day, Monday through Friday. And Rebecca will include in the description for this video information as to how people can see the program. Any parting thoughts?
Absolutely. Well, I would encourage people. Yes, it is going to be broadcast live on WVW TV. .com. You can look it up there at 2 p.m. Central, Monday through Friday, and it is an hour-long show. But if you can't catch it, then it's fine. It's going to be replayed through our channels, thenewamerican.com, and also on all of Brannon Howse's outlets, such as Frank's Speech and WTW. So, we'll probably be taking snippets and putting them up in our video section too, when we have really good interviews. So again, we're in the planning. We really still are in the planning phases. So if people watch, they're going to see us eventually take those training wheels off. And
I think so. And I think before you know it, a good part of America is going to be familiar with this program and watching it. Thank you very much, Rebecca.
Thank you, Gary.
I certainly would not want a constitutional convention. I mean, whoa. Who knows what would come out of that?
It isn't the Constitution that's the problem. It is the people who ignore the Constitution.
What we need are just more people that would read the one we have.
It's up to us to hold our elected officials accountable,
who understand the Constitution and are willing to take a stand when necessary.